In this video I'll show you the fastest ways to farm samples in Helldivers 2 that worked for me. I'll go over everything you need from what planets you should be on to recommendations for your loadout to help you max out your samples. Firstly, what difficulty should you play on? Generally speaking, you want to play missions on the hardest difficulty for the extra sample spawns, but you also want to be able to get through them very quickly to not waste time fighting enemies. With that said, my recommendation is that you stick to level 6 through 9, as anything below level 6 won't give you any super samples, and level 10 missions don't offer much more than level 9 mission in terms of samples, but all have a mega outpost which takes up more time fighting and avoiding enemies rather than looking for the samples. A few extra things to note are that there are other factors that can make missions easier or harder than they seem. Enemy resistance on a planet can make a level 7 feel like a level 9 at times, so try and go for low resistance planets as this can make missions a whole lot easier for you. Another thing is that level 8 and higher missions all have a second modifier you have to deal with. However, you can actually avoid modifiers entirely by playing on a planet that is under a defense campaign. Next, who do we fight? Simply put, it's the bugs. The Terminates are the easiest to farm, followed by the Illuminate, then the Automatons. The main points for that are that the Terminates are highly susceptible to incendiary damage, their nests and optional objectives are easy to destroy, and they have no ultra long range attacks like the Illuminate Harvester's laser and the Automaton cannons that can map you. And if you're not a fan of fighting bugs, do not worry because my loadout recommendations will make things much easier for you. While what sector you go to doesn't matter, the planet biomes and their modifiers do, since once we land we want to get around as quickly as possible. So look for planets with biomes that offer terrain as flat as possible. My recommendations are the desert dunes, rocky canyons, icy glaciers, boneyard, plains, tundra, scorched moor and cities. And to figure out what biome a planet is, when you hover over a planet with your cursor, the preview window has a picture that actually tells you. Beware, some of these biomes have environmental conditions such as sandstorms and blizzards, which will reduce your walking speed and make looking around a bit more difficult. However, these are not majorly impactful as we can make up for it in our loadout later on. When choosing a mission, some things to avoid completely are the atmospheric spores and poor intel modifiers, as these obscure your map and objective vision and can slow progress. I would also recommend not choosing any evacuate high value assets missions, as they simply don't provide samples. And the conduct geological survey missions, since as of editing this video, there's a bug in a game that can soft lock the mission, forcing you to exit out and restart. Now for your loadout. The main goal is to make a build that allows you to deal with enemies and objectives quickly and move around the map with ease. The best in slots are the exploding crossbow or the eruptor for your primary, as not only can they clear enemies well, but they can open container doors when looking for samples, and in a Terminate scenario, they can close up bug holes by you shooting into them. If you don't have either of these two weapons, I'd recommend anything that can clear low tier enemies quickly. Some honourable mentions for this are the Liberator Penetrator, Diligence Counter Sniper, Double Edge Sickle, and the Purifier. For your secondary, the Grenade Pistol and Ultimatum are the best in slot, again for the ability to close up bug holes and open containers quickly. However, I would say the Ultimatum does shine a bit brighter, as not only does it have the power to one-shot Bile Titans and Chargers when shot correctly, but it can even take out structures like Spore Spewers and Shrieker Nests. However, if you don't own either of these two, the runners-up are the Senator, Talon, and Crisper. Regarding your throwable, I'd advise either the Incendio Grenade or its Impact variant, as the fire they leave behind works great for crowd control. Other good options are the Impact Grenade for quickly closing up bug holes, or the Thermite Grenade for being able to take out a charger in one blow. Now your helmet and cape do not matter, but your armor will provide you with a passive ability. If you're struggling with surviving, you can take medium or even heavy armor with a resistance focused ability. But if you want to maintain speed and efficiency, you can choose light armor for the extra movement speed, and with that the scout passive ability, which makes you less noticeable to enemies. Now onto your stratagems. For movement around the map, the fast recon vehicle is the best choice, and if you've chosen a planet with an easy biome, this is only emphasized. But if you do not have the fast recon vehicle, the only alternative here is the jump pack. From here it's quite dependent on the rest of your loadout, as we're now looking to just try and build up synergy. So for your support weapon, if you don't have much to close up bug holes, I would recommend the autocannon or the recoilless rifle, as they also double as amazing killing tools for large enemies. However, if you're struggling with clearing enemies quickly, the arc thrower, flamethrower and machine guns are great options. From here the choice is yours between the offense and the defense stratagems. I usually go for the Eagle Napalm Strike and either the Flame or Rocket Sentry, as this provides a good balance of crowd control and quick kills. Finally, your booster. Now since I have no idea if you're in a coordinated group to farm or running solo, I've made a list of what boosters to prioritize for yourself and your team. Vitality Enhancement and a UAV Recon booster share the top spot here. And to choose which one to run, I would say if you struggle with general survival and die often, take Vitality. This will save you time spent running back to your loot each time you die, but if you don't have this problem, take the Recon booster, as to make finding points of interest even easier, speeding up your sample collection time. After those two, the next best things to take are Sample Extricator for the potential extra 10 samples for every run you do, and then Expert Extraction Pilot as to decrease your overall mission time. The last two boosters I recommend if you or your group don't have any of the previous are Experimental Infusion and Stamina Enhancement, as both of these help in mobility and survivability in the missions you go into. I hope this guide has been helpful for you so far, and if it has, consider liking and subscribing, and if there's any other questions or tips you have of your own, leave them in the comments. Now finally dropping in. Once you land and call in your support stratagems, it's time to divide and conquer. For groups of 4, you want to split into 2 groups of 2, with one group completing the main objectives and the other going to every place of interest. Groups of 3 split into a 1 and 2 and have your 1 do the main objectives, so the 2 are able to open any bunkers they come across. Groups of 2 split 1 and 1 and operate the same as a group of 4. And for solo players, focus on taking out the main objectives first, then go to the places of interest, as your biggest worry will most likely be the timer. Save optional objectives for last, with the exception of the radar station, which should become your team's priority, as this will show you where all things on the map are. Around every main and optional objective are approximately 3 to 6 common and rare samples, that number being influenced by chosen difficulty. So make sure to walk around the area whilst waiting for any progress bars and look out for them. And for those focusing on places of interest, it's best to sweep across the entire map and use the compass at the top of your screen to look for question marks, as these will direct you to nearby places of interest. Whilst doing this, it's important to be aware of the 2 icons that will show up on your minimap and what they mean. The icon with the diamond means 2 things. You've either not explored it yet, or there are samples in that location. If you think you've picked up all the samples at a place of interest and the icon is still there, keep looking. The icon with the kite shape means that there are no samples at the place of interest, so if you see it, move on. In every mission from level 6 upwards, to get the available super samples at one of the places of interest there is uranium rock, and at the base of it you'll find the super samples ready to be picked up. At some places of interest there are special loot vessels. These can either be a pod, container or bunker, and regarding samples, they all have a chance to spawn a max of 1, 2 or 3 rare samples respectively. Something to note is that the samples found in these are classed as undocumented, meaning they are not taken into account for a mission's maximum sample count. For example, you could pick up 40 rare samples off the floor in a mission, and then obtain 3 extra rare samples from special loot vessels, and have a total of 43 out of 40 rare samples for that mission. Once you've either gone through every objective and place of interest, or running out of time, extract, upgrade, and repeat the process. And that's it. I hope the farming goes well, and if you want more guides like this one, like the video and let me know in the comments what I should cover next.